So, the next generation of Pokemon has been announced. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. And I think I should get out a small video where I get my thoughts and concern out with the games before everything goes to hell.
So what if I am?
Also, if I slur my words or screw up, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do a lot of editing for this one since I just want to get this video out. So one of the biggest fears I have for the game is the reaction of the fanbase, especially to the graphics. It's been 3 years since the last mainline games, Sword and Shield, and while I think the graphics are a step up from those that we saw, I know for a fact that they aren't going to be up to the arbitrary industry standard that seems to have cropped up when it comes to Pokemon as of late. I honestly don't want to go through another version of Dexit, but I know the bad actors will stoke the fires and get people riled up, and still proclaim that graphics are extremely important. I do like from what we saw though that the areas look a lot better than Arceus, but as I stated in my review of the game, I wish Game Freak had more fantastical locations to make up for their less than stellar graphics. I will say I do like there's wind effects going on with the trees and clothes on the clotheslines. It's a nice little touch. Look, I've already stated what my standards are for graphics in games. I'm not going to repeat them, so if you want to know, then just watch my review of Pokemon Legends. Speaking of, from what it looks like Game Freak is incorporating Wild Pokemon system and the battle system from Legends to these new 2 games. I get this from looking at Lucario's attack animation, which I think is good, but I hope that they still manage to incorporate a lot of the core features from the mainline games, like abilities, weather conditions, breeding, and include more open areas where you can catch Pokemon that actually are in the real world and not the random battles. Luckily, that doesn't seem like the negatives will be there, but we still have so little information at this point, it's hard to tell. The character designs, look, I'm going to be honest, I think we saw the player character designs and I'm not too much of a fan of them. Like, they're extremely generic and look like school uniforms, which I'm sure is the point, but I really want to see them be, you know, more standing out from the crowd like the other protagonists that we've had in the past. If there's one thing I can say about Pokemon that's great, it's that its character design is amazing. Probably one of the best and strongest aspects of the games, so I hope these aren't the canonical and final designs for the player character. Or if they are, at the very least, let the clothing be customizable. Alright, time for the hopes section. I hope that the starters have really good, unique typings, especially in their final evolutions. We got Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. I honestly like all 3 of the starters this time around, but I might go with the Pompadour Duck, and I will name him Josuke for obvious reasons. Hopefully though, this generation of Pokemon this time around gives us a lot of fun creatures to play with, as well as more regional forms. Regional forms are probably the best thing to come in the design sense for a long time in Pokemon. And I hope, like with the Alolan and Galarian and Hisuian forms, that we get some new forms and some new evolutions for older Pokemon. Or just new evolutions for older Pokemon. Until Arceus with Stantler and Ursaring gained their own original evolutions without Hisuian forms, we haven't really gotten straight up new evolutions for older Pokemon since Generation 4. The story and gym system. I hope this time around Game Freak does more with the story than the standard Gym League challenge. Normally I'd be asking for blood from a rock, but considering Legends, I think there's a small chance that they might expand upon it a bit. Ideally, I'd like to be more character-focused stories, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. I also hope that they give you more reason to buy both versions, like how there be more unique content for each version. Kinda like Sword and Shield had like unique gym leaders and unique Pokemon in them, but I hope they expand upon that. You know, if you're gonna have a 2-game system, you might as well make the games more different from each other. Transferring. Hopefully, and I say this with little to no hope at all, that we can transfer the Pokemon we caught from Sword and Shield, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and Arceus into the newest games. I've got a ton of Pokemon sitting in my bank, and I really want to get them out there and use them again. They're just collecting dust in there. And I suppose the biggest hope that I got is that I hope that we can have a much bigger Pokedex and a national dex this time around. Again, I don't think this will be the case, but I really hope that they at least try to have a larger roster of Pokemon in these games. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Gen 9 to be dropped so soon, as well as have such a close release date. I know we'll get the usual people coming out of the woodwork to make video after video nitpicking these games, especially on their graphics, and frankly, if I didn't have a spine, I'd probably do the same thing, because apparently people like to hate on these games so much they'll give them millions of views and thousands of dollars. But I like to be optimistic about these games. I like to be open-minded, and there's way too much negativity going on in the world, and I just want to have some level of joy and relaxation in amongst the turmoil and suffering that's going on in the world. So while the world burns and we're all bathed in nuclear energy, I'd like to be sitting back and enjoy the wonderful world of Pokemon if you don't mind. Is that too much to ask? I'm MangaKamen, thanks for watching and give me your comments down below.